What's up guys, Clay here. Thanks for checking out the Nintendo Village YouTube page. Today I'm going to be taking a look at a small indie game for the Switch called Spheroids. So we're going to jump right in here and we're going to get started. I'm going to give you some of my initial impressions with this game. So here we go. Alright, we start off with this little dude. You have some configuration options here, but we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this because we've only got a short while. We're going to start a new game. Alright, so here we go. We have a cutscene. We'll just go ahead and skip it for time's sake. Load right in and get started. So, yes, here we go. Alright, so right off the bat, I've got two control options, I believe. Press to jump, press A. Easy enough. Looks like B also is my attack, which is this little, I don't even know what you would call this thing. Kind of a springy, throwy up spear thing. So that little chamber, I believe, is, oh, they're hooks. We'll call them hooks. So I think I just saved right there. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. So these are the main bad guys in this game. And you literally, to kill them, you just go underneath and throw a hook at them, and yeah, they explode. Obviously they, okay, yeah, I just wanted to see if there was, if that's what I thought it was. Yeah, basically they do become more complex. So that's, there's different colored spheroids, I guess you could call them, and they obviously act differently based on the color. I skipped the opening cutscene, but from what I remember, something about you know, you're in a certain world and these weird alien things come from a different dimension, and so obviously the main character, he lives in this world that's all blocky and square, and these spheroids that are obviously, you know, spheres show up. And so one of the first things when I started, oh cool, so the arcade here machine is where you can purchase upgrades. I'm gonna go ahead and do a double hook, which cost me 10 whatever their currency is. So now I can do two, you know, one and then the other. Anyway, when I first started looking at this game, I thought the art style was super weird because obviously it's so blocky, but then the bad guys are like a lot more detailed and just have a very different looking art style. Here's some more of them right here. There's a lot more detail, and I don't know, it just didn't match, and so that kind of bothered me at first. But then the more I took a look at it, and the more I paid attention to what the storyline was, I realized that's completely intentional. And the whole point of this game is that there is, you know, this invasion of these different aliens that look differently. And so not only do they look like weird aliens, they're, you know, they just artistically are different as well. And so I thought that was kind of cool. It took me a minute to fully appreciate it, but now knowing what I know, I appreciate it a lot more. I haven't got hit yet. That was close. Obviously these guys are very simple. You hit them one time and they just die. But eventually you get into more difficult enemies where, oh man, I think I just screwed that up. Where they eventually become much more, they like break into smaller pieces and stuff. Sorry, I'm not thinking good words right now. Yeah, and so it starts out relatively easy, but oh, TNT blew everybody up. But as far as I understand it, the further you get into this game, the more complex it gets. It gets much more challenging. So if you're looking at this right now and thinking, oh, this seems a little easy, yeah, I think a lot of people mentioned that it starts out a little more on the easy side, but then, you know, eventually ramps up. So we hit a cutscene here. I don't really want to skip all this. All right. I've still got some more upgrade currency, but currently right now it doesn't look like anything I want. So I'm going to hold off for now. Hit that button. And I just got hit. But then I got a power up which froze them, which allows me to do that. Now obviously the smaller they get to, the lower the bounce is, so it's a lot more difficult to hit them. But thankfully, if they even run into the tail on the hook, it does hurt them. So it's really just about the timing. Obviously, the lower the ceiling is, the less time the hook is around. So basically, once it makes contact with above or off screen, it stops. So those little hits you don't get as much time with. All right, we'll make our way through here and just keep coming. There's obviously a risk if you just wait and get right underneath them. You're much more likely to hit them, but they also will come down on you, obviously. So you really want to be careful. Make sure you're confident in your hits. Make sure you... Oh, crap. These little guys, definitely more challenging. All right, so I opened the door, but I can't leave. Oh my gosh, I'm losing all my health. All right. Crap, I died. All right, let's try that again. I'm over here like, oh, much later in the game it gets difficult, but here I am dying. But that's what happens when you do a live playthrough and you don't edit anything out. You get the warts and all, you know? So the music of this game is kind of interesting. As I understand it, there's different, areas that this character visits. I think right now I'm in Japan, and so the music is obviously kind of got a Japanese flair to it, which is cool. I guess you could argue it does get a little old, but then when you progress onto other levels, they do have additional music, which is very welcome. Oh crap. Okay, so these guys break into threes. Boom. Oh, see, TNT only knocks them down to another size. It doesn't actually get rid of them. Then we got a puzzle here. There we go. I mean, overall, the blocky art style works, I would say. There's certain parts where it feels maybe a little, I don't know, I wouldn't say cheap, but it definitely makes it easier to, like the tree in the background, for instance. It's, it's just a bunch of white blocks, but I assume that's supposed to be like, a blossom tree or whatever it's called. All right, here they all come. I'm about to get destroyed. But for the art style, the direction they're going, it works. And obviously, there's a lot of indie games that use this type of art style. So I'm not trying to shame this game, but as far as the main core mechanic of the game itself, the whole throwing the thing up in the air, it's been done. There's a Super Nintendo game, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it kind of takes from that. There's a couple other games on the Switch too that even use this mechanic, I guess, the whole throwing, the hook up in the air. But I appreciate that it's done in a platformer style game, because if you know me well enough, you'll know that I love platformers, and so I welcome unique mechanics. You can't just run and shoot everything horizontally. You have to get under it, or leave enough time for it to get caught in the tail. Wow. Okay, so it's getting a little more crazy. Thankfully, these red guys are pretty simple. Yeah, I can't remember exactly how many levels there are in this game, but I know that there is quite a few, And so for the relatively, I won't say cheap, but low price, you know, of this game, I feel like it's a pretty good deal. You get a decent, oh my gosh, you get a decent sized game for what you pay. Oh jeez, I do appreciate that. Okay, slow down. I do appreciate that when you do respawn, the bad guys don't respawn, which I don't know. Oh man, some people might say is not the way it should be. Oh man, jeez, yeah, this definitely ramps up once you start getting a lot of these smaller guys in here. It gets a little intense, not gonna lie. And my character's hitbox he's a little stocky, so it's pretty easy to get nabbed. Oh, I froze. All right, here we go. So there's some nice power-ups in this game too. I like that. Oh my gosh. There's the dynamite. There's the freezing. Makes cleaning those up a little bit easier. But overall, not a bad little game for the price, and you know, for a game you maybe never have heard of. It's got a unique premise to it. The music is not terrible. I'd say like above average music. So, and then there's like an upgrade system, which I think is nice. I don't know. There's not always a motivation to kill these guys, because you can, a lot of the time you can just keep moving. And then you get in rooms like this where you can't progress until you, oh my gosh, defeat them. But yeah, so it's every now and then there's like forced, oh, I should add that. Some forced fighting, but a lot of it you could really just maneuver your way through. Come here. All right, let's see, we got about 30 seconds left here. Give or take. Okay, yeah, going in there when they're bouncing like that, kind of suicide. Yeah. It appears I have unlimited continues, which is nice. So there's no game overs, and that's as it should be, I would say. So just, it takes a little bit getting used to, I would say, of figuring out, you know, when to run and when to fight. Yeah, overall, a cool little indie game on the Switch. Definitely check it out. Let's see here, before we get off, let's see what the next enemy type is. I think that's what this is talking about. Oh no. Oh, a grappling hook. Okay. So that adds some different things. That's interesting. Let's try that real quick before I get off, because it's got my interest. So I like that. It's not the same thing each level, you know, nothing ever changing. How do I use it? X. Okay. So it glows when you can reach it, I guess. Or you hold it down and you pick. Interesting. That works surprisingly well, actually. I say as I can't get up. Overall, the controls are a little floaty, but I like that in a platformer. Oh, that was close. Pretty cool. Anyway, guys, so this has been Spheroids. You can check it out on the eShop. I'm not entirely sure. I forget what the current pricing is for this game, but you should definitely check it out. It's a fun little indie game. Might be worth, you know, spending a little bit of time on if you're looking for something a little unique and different. So, anyways, that's it for my first impressions. Guys, stay here right on this channel, Nintendo Village, for more awesome stuff about Nintendo. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe, check out some of our other videos, and visit thenintendovillage.com, your home for everything Nintendo.